Yeah. Good morning, everyone. Good morning to the panelists and today. I am Amita and I take care of the PGPpro admissions from the Admissions and Financial Aid at ISB. And along with me, I have my colleague Kia. She also takes care of the PGPpro admissions for Delhi and me. Thank you all for joining us for the session today, the Alumni Interaction Series. This is hosted by the PGPpro admissions team at ISB. The Alumni Interaction Series is our outreach initiative that brings together alumni from various fields to share their experiences and their journey with PGPpro. Will give you an opportunity to interact with our alums and understand about their PGPpro journey, the program experience, and the post-program impact in their careers, or any query that you might have about the program in general. So I would encourage you to make use of the Q&A box to put in your queries and take it up from there as we progress with the session. The Q&A will be limited to the alumni experiences and specifically to our panelists. If you have any queries related to the program, we would be happy to take it up offline through a one-to-one session. So I'll be sharing the link in the chat box, which you can use it later for any program-related queries. So our panel hosts today alumni from different cohorts and different industries. So first of all, we have Shruti Ganeriwala. She is from the PGPpro cohort of 2020. Shruti, welcome to the session today. Would you like to introduce yourself to our audience? Because I think you would do it much better than I would do it for you. So
thanks, Smriti. So hi everyone. Shruti Ganeriwala, PGPpro cohort 2020. It feels like historic when you talk 2020 now, but yeah, I've been a PGPpro alum now, and at workside, I'm a director at American Express, looking after the risk management and data analytics vertical. Overall experience has been mostly around risk management, consulting, and analytics. And that's been my journey. And then PGPpro landed up in 2020, and we've been graduated with the COVID year. So we have that legacy of the COVID side as well, of switching between online and offline as well. So that's briefly about me.
Yeah. Thank you, Shruti. So the another panelist that we have today is Raman Pandey. He is from one of the recent graduated cohorts, the PGPpro cohort of 2022. Raman, welcome to the session. And would you like to introduce yourself to our audience today?
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Shruti, and thanks, everyone. Myself, Raman Pandey, I work for Microsoft India Development Center. And I'm leading, there is a product called Microsoft Defender, if you know. It's a very famous product from Microsoft. So I'm leading that product from Microsoft. And it has been a great journey, very good transformation for individually. If I look at myself before PGPpro and now, there's a lot of changes in terms of management and in terms of taking a lot of critical decisions for the product. So yeah, thank you, everyone. We'll continue more.
Yeah, thank you, Raman. Thank you for the wonderful introduction, and we look forward to hosting you for the session today. So next up, we have Sanchit Aluwalia. Sorry for the miscommunication here. So he's also from the PGPpro cohort of 2020. Welcome, Sanchit. Welcome to the session today. Would you like to introduce yourself to our audience?
Yeah, hi everybody. I'm in the same cohort and the same batch as Shruti. So that I think is already a boat that has been explained. What I do, I am a category lead at Vivo India. I lead the mobile telephony business in the youth segment and the economic segment for the company. I lead the marketing for this segment, so to speak. That's me. Been 2 years, 3 years rather. of graduating. So good fun since then.
Thank you, Sanchit. Thank you for the wonderful introduction. So the way we are doing this session is Kia and I would be co-hosting the session today. So we have a few questions that I would like to pose to each of you as panelists. And then, Kia would take over with the rest of the questions. So audience, if you have any questions in between that you would want to ask, please make use of the Q&A box. And Kia and I will take it up, during this session if it requires, for us to answer it during the session, or if there are any more questions, we'll dedicate the last 20 minutes for the Q&A and we'll take it up later. So yes, so I would like to ask my first question to all of you, probably, starting with Shruti here. So why did you want to do an MBA at the point of career that you were in? And there would be a lot of thoughts running in your mind and you would be researching. So what made you think about doing an MBA at that point of time? And then after a lot of research, how did you zero in on the PGPpro program? I understand you would have researched a bit and there would be some shortlisted programs in your mind, but what made you choose the PGPpro program? So yeah, starting with you, Shruti.
Sure. And so honestly, I had been on the juncture of like 9 years of my career wherein I've been thinking where to take it further. And I always felt that gap being in consulting, being in, different analytics and risk domain, that I cannot connect the dots together. Whenever I am in leadership meetings, I am into, management discussions. I always felt that need that I wanted to connect the dots together. And that's why I knew that I had to go for an MBA, but the opportunity cost of leaving behind what I do and what I love and just going for 2 years and doing something full time was never something that appealed me, and I always kept pushing it off. So even after having a GMAT score, I was always pushing it off just because I wasn't sure that I want to take that much of a gap in my career. And then I heard about PGPpro, that it offers the same kind of flexibility, the same kind of course material, the same kind of learning hours as PGP, just at your location. And it's a weekend based program, and you get all of these resources as similar, and then the ISB brand name. So that was a go for me, that this is what I would want to do, and this would help me continue what I love to do at my work as well. And then eventually this was more of a discovery phase, that when I started it, I understood that I was able to also go back and apply my learnings from the course to my work on a regular basis, which became a really big add-on to my career development at my organization.
Sure. Thank you, Shruti, for sharing your inputs there. Raman, would you want to share why, what made you choose the PGPpro program, and what made you decide that you would want to do MBA at that stage of your career?
I think Shruti covered everything, but apart from that, I have a couple of reasons. I work for Microsoft India, and if people know, both the campus share wall each other. So I can see the what you call atrium of ISB from my seat of Microsoft where I sit. So that was one of the biggest motivation. I have always seen ISB, and I have heard a lot about ISB. I have colleagues, a lot of colleagues in Microsoft. But the reason I chose to get into ISB PGPpro, like Shruti, I had a GMAT score of 720, and I had a choice to join either the regular MBA, either from outside India or even from ISB PGP also. But I did some maths, I did some calculations. Based on that, there is an opportunity cost, right? So if you are having this kind of a system already available for you, and we have the number of hours, it is equivalent to what the other regular PGP folks are having, and the faculties are same. And apart from that, the reason when I chose this, because I was lagging in my career to understand the management jargons which they usually use. And during our leadership meetings, we had a lot of challenges to understand the financial numbers. I'm not very good in finance. So, I mean, I was not very good in finance. Now I can relate all the financial reports and all those things, which is a part of our curriculum as part of ISB PGPpro. So those are the things because of which I wanted to join. And of course, it's a if you are at a mid career level, to join the leadership, it's very good opportunity. You'll get a lot of networking in ISB because I personally feel once you meet the people who are already into leadership, that is apart from just the normal conversation, a lot of invisible things you get from the leaders. Those are the attributes I gained, and yeah, that's the motivation. Yep.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you, Raman, for the wonderful insights there. Sanchit, would you like to share what made you join the PGPpro program, and how did you make that decision?
Sure. So to begin with, I had already done an MBA. So I wasn't really unfamiliar with any of the terms that the management was using. Rather, I was happier using all of those terms. But mine was more of a philosophical reason. Mine was the fact that I did feel that while I was using the jargons, I was not really applying them. And I wanted to be in a part of a peer group which gives me a lot more robust worldview, which is what I thought would happen at ISB. Now, the delta for me, or the incremental value for me, was the fact that the faculties were supremely talented and they gave a brilliant worldview to me. In my mind, I wasn't really looking at career progression as the ultimate outcome. That wasn't what I was seeking. I was seeking my brain to change. I was seeking my thought processes to change. I was thinking that if I can deploy designed thinking in my own mind space, perhaps that is what I was looking for. During the course of the program, and the reason why I chose PGPpro was because it makes you work that much harder. Typically, corporate mid career professional, your life is pretty much settled. You know you are doing a 9 to 5. Your daily schedules are pretty much settled. There's nothing which is out of the ordinary. I wanted to create a little bit of a shock and a ripple around me. This because of the fact that, and Shruti is here to actually tell you the fact that I would probably be traveling a lot. I would come back, and that sort of a rigor, that sort of a pace is what I was actually seeking. What that did for me was it made me extremely calm in chaos, which typically is something that a good manager needs to have, patience and a calm head. So in my mind, the PGPpro program gave me three key learnings. One, striving in chaos. Second, literally the most brilliant group of people that I can call friends and learn from them. And third was it re-engineered my entire worldview of how I was looking and perceiving things. So that is what ISB brings to the table. And this is in addition to what Raman and Shruti have spoken about. So I'm not repeating those points, while I would love to reiterate those.
Sure, Sachit, that was a wonderful insight for all of us, and I hope the audience would be able to take cues from here, and if they are in the decision-making process, this would definitely help them. So with that, I move to my next question. All three of you would have taken this decision of joining the PGPpro program at certain stage of your career. You might be at a professional juncture, or in the midst of personal responsibilities. So with all of these and the program and the studies coming in between, how were you able to manage the commitment for the program along with your professional and personal responsibilities? So we can start off with the lady here. Shruti, over to you.
Sure. And, being very honest, it was hard. It was not something that somebody can give you like a philosophy that, you manage your work life and it comes out. It doesn't. The biggest, thing that you need to manage is to getting into that space of studying again, or getting, concentrated over a point of, putting 8 hours of study every weekend or every, day. It is not something that you're used to after college or after getting into, work. So that was the biggest deal. And then, managing the cutoff from, the PGPpro to back to work is also, a difficult thing because you're in a zone. Getting with those kind of discussions with your peer group, with your professors, and then coming the next Monday to a class, to a work, and just being there at work the whole time is, a little bit of trolling. But I'll be honest, when you start enjoying it and when you start, associating it with, how you want to apply back to your work, it becomes interesting. And then, the peer group, as Sanjit was quoting, it really helps because, your peer group are somebody who have experience from different industries, different, zones of life. So you get to enjoy those conversations, you look forward to it. And that, wakes you up on a Saturday morning at like 6:30 a.m. or so to just walk off to classes and, attend that whole day and just wait for, the lunch breaks or the coffee breaks to have those outside of class discussions, and that keeps you pumped up. So I think those are the things that, was driving me. But on the work side, yes, I had informed my leaders and I've told them that, this is what I'm pursuing. I would need their support. It would not compromise my work, but you might need to understand that it could be a case that, I'll not be available on all general timings because I might have assignments that I need to submit on. Let's say on a Friday I need to work through assignments, so I would probably finish up a lot of what I'm doing by Thursday in advance, just to make sure that I have that Friday in advance for, the assignments and stuff. And I think they understood. So that's how it worked out for me.
Yeah, thank you, Shruti over there. Raman, over to you now. So, how were you able to balance between all three aspects? We have heard from the lady, and of course, it would have been much different for you and Sanchit. So, let's hear from you.
Yeah, of course. I think, as Shruti mentioned, you need to be advanced with your work, and there is a lot of things. In my opinion, if something is not difficult, it is not worth also, to be honest. And it's very important time. You need to decide that you need to compromise a lot of family things also apart from normal work and of course the study. But considering the fact like what you are gaining and what you are achieving by interacting with a lot of new people from the industry who are having a different perspective. Uh, during my time, we have been given a lot of case studies, which and believe me, like you will be sitting around doctors, CAs, and then I was a techie. I was thinking from all the technical side of the case study, but people who are from CA background or medical background, they were having a very different perspective, and you are gaining all those perspective, and then collectively it is coming into your mind, and then you are going by that. It is a very enjoyable journey. You will enjoy a lot more than a normal movies, the hit movies, to be honest with you. A lot of things will come to you as a challenge, and of course apart from that, academics are another things. You need to do assignments, and that too you will get a group of people, like group study you need to do, and then submit the assignments. Those assignments are really very tricky as well as very excitement you will get once you will understand the case studies and all. So over and all, if you ask me, it was a very uh, difficult journey for me, balancing work as well as study, but worth doing it, to be honest. And you will have a different perspective altogether. You will have a lot of knowledge in terms of thinking from a leadership perspective. So yeah, that's from me.
Thank you, Raman, for the insights. Sanchit, let's hear from you on how did you manage the three aspects together?
So, I mean, like Raman was stating, it is walking on, it is putting your feet in two boats. There is no denial to that fact. You are trying to balance out a lot of things. But having said that, I really enjoyed it. It was super fun. There is no way around it. The the instant gratification, the first thing that I got when I enrolled in and I got from my peers and my management at my workplace, not at the college, but at my workplace, was the instant brag value that you get. Dude, I'm an ISB student. That does it for you. Like, a lot of people look at you a lot more differently. So that is one, which was the most instant gratification. And honestly, it did not last more than a week. Let me just break that myth. It does not last more than a week. You enter the boot camp, you start reading maths, and all of a sudden there's a reality check that, hey, I've forgotten a lot of things. So that unlearning is the most beautiful experience. It is amazing to kind of go back into yourself, rediscovering yourself, and then building yourself all over again with a group of people. It is in incredible energy, and that's what I think was my understanding. Commitment, yes, it is very, very daunting, but it just looks like a task in the first 3 weeks. Post those 3 weeks, it is a beautiful journey. Yeah. And it's just enjoyable.
I would agree to that because I've interacted a lot with the PGPpro students and the alums likewise. And this has been the same reaction all across. There has not been any mincing of words anywhere. So the journey definitely is enjoyable, but yes, it is a lot of hard work too. So with that, I will hand over the session to my colleague Kia, and she will be taking it over from here. And audience, I see that some of the questions have started coming in. Please do pour in your questions so that we don't miss out on answering your queries while we do this session also. Over to you, Kia, and thank you, Raman, Shruti, and Sanchit for the wonderful insights. Thank you.
Thank you, Smriti. So moving over to like your experience during the PGPpro, like the classroom experience as well as how the faculty taught the classes. So let us discuss a bit about that as well. So as you were mentioning that there are people who come from different backgrounds, and it might be very common that people who are from say marketing background, they might not be so familiar with the financial concepts, and it might be slightly daunting for them at the start. So like or vice versa. So like how adaptable is the curriculum and how did you manage about that? So like we can again start from Shruti.
Yeah, so, one thing that ISB maintains is diversity. So, in the classroom, you will have diverse people, and it is not concentrated that you'll have, 90% marketing and 10% other group. It is a balanced diversity that happens, the diverse working group. So you come across into those peer group assignments, those projects that you do with different people, and you work together. And that's the aim that, nobody is an expert of all of the subjects. MBA being a general concept, you have, marketing as well, you have finance as well, you have probably statistics as well. All of that is there. And you have people from all of those backgrounds independently that come together to do a project. So at once, probably somebody, who's good at marketing in a marketing subject could probably give you a lot of insight, but would also seek a lot of, external perspective because he might be bottled up, his own vision. So that kind of a healthy discussion is something that always happens. And the way the professors conduct the classes, it's, a lot of group discussions, a lot of, group assignments and stuff that happens that is not oriented on what you already know. It is oriented on the case, it is oriented on some of a situation that you need to just know from the course material and talk about so that nobody feels, that, kind of a lack that, I've never done it in the past. So how can I answer this versus somebody else who's done it in the past can answer it better. So they do know that and they try to balance that off, and that helps you to be at the same page in each and every subject. But yes, there are strengths that you have with people and you need to pull on to that strengths. Like if you're interested in marketing, getting into a group with somebody who's in marketing and learning from him that there are elements that you might have been not thinking on because he might be there in the live field doing it than just the case study is the real learning experience.
just add one follow-up question to this, Shruti. So as you mentioned, like there are a lot of group studies, there are a lot of project work assignments. So do you have to allocate some time apart from your weekend classes to devote to those? And
Absolutely.
how much it would be?
So it depends on your involvement and the size of the project, to be honest. But you do have to spend time apart from your weekends. So let's clear that myth. It's not just the 2 days of the weekends that you study. That's the bare minimum of attending the classes and getting through it. Apart from that, during the week, please, in the rest of the 5 days, please envision about 5 to 6 hours at least that would go in. I'm talking bare minimum because I used to put bare minimum. So 5 to 6 hours at least, and that would be the group assignments, that would be your individual assignments, and the group discussions that would be happening. But that's something that you'll obviously do because when you go into the class, you want to be prepared. The professor would not be expecting you to cover very scratch basic concepts. They imagine that you've done some prerequisite because they want you to have a discussion during the class, and that's the purpose of an in-person session. So you would want to go prepared because you would feel involved. Else you will feel, you are sitting in the class and not contributing, which is not a good feeling, honestly, when you are waking up on a weekend and attending those classes altogether.
Thank you so much, Shruti, for sharing your experience. So now moving over to Raman, my question to you is can you just describe how the faculties taught the classes, like the faculties for PGP, are they different from PGPpro or is the faculty, because we're offering this program in 4 locations, which are Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore, and Hyderabad. So is it that the classes in Hyderabad is different than the classes which are taught in Delhi, Mumbai? And did you ever get a chance to attend at the cohort?
Uh, no, Kia. I think faculties are very uniform to any of the course we have in ISB. The advantage for me, again, my campus for Microsoft and ISB were very close. So I have a very frequent footfall to ISB campus in Hyderabad. And I usually meet a lot of ISB PGP folks, and of course they conduct some of the programs, the public networking programs. So I attend them, and we have I have a lot of ISB PGP friends. So we usually talk about our academics also. So it was exactly same what they are, studying and what we are studying. And as Shruti mentioned, the difference in our side is you need to be prepared when you are going in the class well before. So that prerequisite, you need to prepare. But from the faculty side, if you ask me, all of the professors are common, equally going to either Delhi or Mumbai cohort or Bangalore cohort or Hyderabad cohort. They were uniform. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Raman. And now moving over to Sajid, we know that there is a very common notion that executive MBA is not it does not have the same value as compared to a full-time MBA. And we keep getting on these questions from the prospective candidates. So what was your experience since you have completed PGPpro and it has been a few years now? So did you feel that there has been a difference, and is there any difference between a full-time MBA and the executive MBA? And how is the industry acceptance for the PGPpro program?
So honestly, the industry acceptance is, I think, on a growth trajectory. It is improving. But having said that, yes, there is a lot of noise and chatter about a distance learning program. To break the myth very, very clearly, it is not a weekend learning. It is not a distance learning program. And unfortunately, the human resources and headhunters, because of whatever conviction that they have, they like to believe that it's an executive education. It's not. It's a full contact program, exactly the same faculties, exactly the same pedagogy. It is intense, and it is another MBA in all stretch of imagination. Is there a certain amount of fear around the definition of it? Or is there a certain amount of a bit of a vacuum in the understanding of it? when I graduated, perhaps, yes, there was. But in the past 2 years, or the past 3 years, and I've switched 3 companies in between, uh, it hasn't really been something that I've had to explain. When I remember the first time that I had to explain it to the time that I'm explaining it now, it's a fairly easy understanding because the Alum group has increased. What has also happened is the information has increased. The number of people who are aware about the program has increased. So the marketing from ISB has kind of worked. But is it 100% done? There's nothing as a perfect utopian world. So there is still room for improvement. There's still immense growth possibilities. But I don't really see that as too much of a problem right now.
Thank you so much, Sanchit, and thanks for clarifying this. I would like to ask the same question to Shruti and Raman as well. Like, what has your experience been like? Did you see any difference between a full-time MBA and the PGP Pro program which you have pursued? And how is the market acceptance for that? Maybe Shruti, we can start with you.
So, if you talk about the personal experience of an executive MBA, I feel, and I've met, I hire full-time MBAs as well. I feel, the kind of MBA that we went through in an executive format, which was, going back to work the week and, going back to classes and then applying it back was really helpful. Like, it helped me connect and build on what I was doing and what I was learning. So my concepts seem to be a lot more clearer and practical than a full-time MBA. And I think that's what we used to hear it from professors as well. They used to talk about, how they love conversing with our class because our class was much matured, our class was much, diverse, and they wanted to learn very live situations at work. So we used to bring in like, I'm facing this situation at work. Can you help us understand this with this concept that you're teaching? So that was something that helped us. But yes, there is a pre-notion that does exist somewhere wherein, executive and distance learning, as Sanchit said, kind of gets intermixed at times, but it is gradually improving. What I've been seeing is it is gradually improving. And when people are trying to understand what you bring to the table, right? And when you present yourself as somebody who's trying to probably make a point, they do understand that you have some basics background of MBA as well behind it, and that's how you make an impression. So I would say that overall the perception is kind of becoming better with probably the years that have been passing by, with the publicity and stuff that's happening, also with the alums going out and presenting themselves better, is making that perception better and better, that executive MBA is not distance learning. And then again, what ISB is doing is not diluting probably quality when it is moving from a full time to an executive format. So that is what they're seeing when they're meeting the alum group altogether.
Thank you so much, Shruti, for sharing your experience. And now, Raman, how about you? Like, how has your experience been post you have completed PGPpro? And did you feel like there has been any difference between a full-time MBA and an MBA?
Uh, uh, Kia, if you ask me, honestly, I think I will consider this MBA a little better than the actually you are putting. As Shruti also mentioned, like you're learning and implementing. In my case, at least, I'm from the tech background. It was totally, and even the contact hours with the professors, it's almost similar to what we have with the regular PGP. I mean, there are two subjects I think which they are having more than PGPpro. Apart from those contact hours with the professors, we have almost equal number of contact hours with professors. So that itself defines, like, it's not like a normal distance learning MBA. It's a proper executive program where you are learning from diverse group, and then you are implementing that in your products. So apart from I work for Microsoft, and I can tell you in one small event where we had to, we had couple of resumes for product managers. We were hiring, and there were two of them were from PGPpro and 7 from PGP. And we weighted, the weightage was equivalent. In fact, because of the more experience in the PGPpro, we give little bit more weightage to the PGPpro resumes, and then we had an interview session with them. So in this way, you can take this instance, and sure, yeah. So
Thank you
that's
so much, Raman.
yeah.
So thanks, Shruti, Raman, and Sanchit for clarifying this myth that this is not just an online executive program. It is rather a weekend program, and it is very much similar to the PGP program which we have at ISB. And there is not much difference between the full-time PGP program or a PGP Pro program. It is just that this has been offered for the flexibility of the working professionals who want to pursue this program alongside their job. And the minimum work ex of this program right now is 8 to 15 years. Like you need to have at least 8 years of full-time work ex, and the maximum you can have is 15 years. So moving ahead to the next section, this is one of the very important concern of the candidates, participants, and the prospective candidates who are looking forward to join PGPpro. So it is about the career transition and the ROI, because we all know that yes, the fees for PGPpro is slightly on the higher side, and and what is the ROI? Because we don't have a campus placement for this program, right? And rightly so, because it is for the working professionals who have certain years of experience in the particular domain. And so as a result of which we don't have a campus placement. So how do you look at it in terms of ROI, and what has your experience been after completion of the program? So Shruti, over to you.
Sure. And Kia, you rightly covered. We are all experienced professional and mid-career. So getting a placement wouldn't work for us. We want very curated jobs. And getting a general pool of marketing, finance, statistician or something, business analyst doesn't work for us as such. We need something that maps to what our career trajectory has been. And to that, placements are not the best avenue. But what ISB does is it does act as a catalyst, the PGPpro program. When you're going into those discussions, when you're meeting recruiters, you get the foot in the door. You get to have, those kind of discussions wherein you can showcase your, probably mindset, wherein you have gained a lot of width, not just depth into your career, but also the width around what's happening around the industry and, connecting the external dots and the external perspectives. And that helps you, gain a better graph over other candidates who just, been into a particular domain always, because they do not have that connectivity all time. But in terms of the career trajectory, it is not that just after doing a PGPpro you'll just land up with the amazing transition from an IT to a, let's say, management consulting together. It's a journey. It doesn't happen over a night. You cannot imagine that somebody would believe that after doing a course you have just become from a very IT coder to a management consultant and started advising McKinsey and the other organization. You need to get to a point wherein you are transitioning gradually. So maybe from an IT coder, you move to IT consulting. Then from an IT consulting, you move to management consulting. So that builds on your skill set as well. But yes, what happens is when you are moving these learnings and these course materials and whatever you learned at PGPpro really helps you, because you understand it now. You're not afraid of learning something new, and you have your peer group who is there, so you can just ask somebody who's a management professional that what do you do and how is it different from what I'm doing here, and how can I get from here to here. So all of that kind of resources are available to you, which helps in your career transition. So in short, it doesn't happen overnight, but it does happen, and it is more like a catalyst towards, if you're going by an equation of, let's say, 1x, probably this would make it a 3x for you. That's it.
Thank you so much, Shruti. Moving over to you, Sanchit, how has your experience been, and how is the career transition like? Is it possible to switch from one industry to another? Because there are certain candidates, certain prospective aspirants who are looking to switch their industry and their verticals. So do you feel that there is a prospect for that as well?
So yeah, I mean, I pretty much am a live example. I've moved industries in the past since the time I've graduated. I was an automobile person, And since then, I've moved into a couple of different domains. So yes, that's a possibility. But it essentially, it is not that ISB is there on your resume and people will open up red carpets for you, and all of a sudden you'll be the hottest talk in town. That is not going to happen. Very honestly, it's a fairly competitive economy and a very competitive and talented pool of people who are there vying for the same jobs as you are. What ISB does is it does give you a foot in the door, as Shruti mentioned. It does give you a bit of a brag value when you are in a discussion. Then it depends entirely on us. What have we learned? What is our skill? What is it that we have developed? And that is essentially what will get you a job at the end of the day. I guess at the point in time when the minimum threshold of the course is at 8 years, nobody's looking at a startup. People are fairly sure as to where their career trajectory is going, and they want to upskill in a certain direction very, very poignantly. The network does ensure and help you in getting all of that done. So that's the role that ISB plays. It is, as Shruti rightly said, and I have no better word to explain it, it is a catalyst. It will just kind of make it a little more fast-paced, but that's the wherewithal ends. The linguistic and the brain skills, obviously the professors will drill it down to you. There's no way around it. By default, your peer group, your professors will ensure that it flows in your bloodstream by the end of it. So then by default, there's an outcome, and you become a better person or a better professional, so to speak.
Thank you so much. And I really agree with both of you, Shruti and Sajid. So it's a gradual process. It's not that overnight you will land up with a really good job or you will get a very good transition. But yeah, since you are pursuing this program alongside your job, you have the possibility. There is a possibility of switching or transitioning into a better role even while pursuing the program. Like you don't have to wait till graduating or completion of the program to make a switch. So you can do it alongside, and obviously, you also have to put in your effort, and it might be a gradual process. Raman, my question is to you is that you were from a technical background, right? You were working Microsoft. So there are people who does not have probably much exposure to business, right? And they are looking forward to join this program to gain a better understanding of the business verticals so that they can grow into senior roles. So how has your experience been in this regard, having come from a technical background?
Yeah, Kia, certainly. This program helps a lot to understand business jargons, as well as not just the jargons, but exactly what, because me before ISB, I was always trying to understand like what contribution I am making to the technical product which I am developing or supporting. How it is helping to management world, or how this product getting sold in the market. What is the pricing model? What are the marketing strategies we have? So after going through with this program, I at least understood like what my marketing team does, what are the sales teams follows, and what pricing model, the COGS part of the product, how they design. So all those learnings I got it from here. At least I understood the idea, and then of course you need to put your own efforts also within the organization. You need to meet the people who are working. So the technical products which I have been developing in the Microsoft itself, I had more relevance while I was going to the teams, like marketing team, and I was contributing also, as part of one of the case study itself given by the professors. I apart from my regular job, I went to the team and then I asked them like if I can help them for the pricing, and they appreciated that. That was the change, at least in my case, I found after going through with this course.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much, Raman, for sharing your experience. Now, moving ahead, we will discuss about networking opportunities. We do have a couple of networking events. I think almost every week, something or the every weekend rather, something or the other keeps on happening at ISB, both online as well as offline, right? So, what all networking opportunities have you been a part of, or what are the opportunities which are actually there which you can capitalize on? while pursuing this program? Or not only just pursuing this program, even once you graduate, what are the different opportunities which you can avail? Yeah, Shruti, over to you.
Yeah, so a lot of networking opportunities. Honestly, you have to do a catch and play with the number of opportunities that are there, and there are venues that I can get to, but maybe Sanchit and Raman can add more. So for a student, there are networking opportunities across the class that you have. Then you have cohorts like Delhi, Mumbai, Hyderabad, and Bangalore. All of the cohorts have more networking opportunities. Then you have the current students of, let's say, the previous batch and the current batch that's enrolling. That's again a networking opportunity. And then all of these are connected groups. We are all connected together. Even the alums are connected to these groups. And then you have like things like Abhidya. So we have this leadership conclave that happens. So that gives you a lot of networking opportunity with the peers, with the industry leaders, and all of them together. Then you have industry connects, some clubs that happen in ISB that you can always be a part of, and you can lead certain clubs as well. So that gives you like a lot of networking opportunity as a student. As an alum, you have an alumni engagement team that facilitates all of those kind of engagements, and then you have the current students that invite you to various sessions. The admission teams invite you to various networking sessions. So that's some kind of networking. And then there's also networking that you do on yourself, like the alums want to meet. We are great friends outside of the course, so we want to meet together as well. So all of those kind of networking opportunities does exist, right? And it's upon you how much you want to get into it and how much you want to be a part of it. That's basically about it. It's just more than what you can be a part of, honestly.
Thank you so much, Shruti. Raman, have you been a part of any networking event, and how was it? And has it ever happened to you that you received any help from any alumni? You reached out to any alumni, and they were able to help you out with that?
I mean, I think Shruti beautifully explained all the actual happenings in the ISB. The best advantage of ISB is like it is open to all, especially if you are a student or the alum. So there are a lot of programs happening. I can tell you a couple of events which I have been doing. I hosted Dr. Kiran Bedi in ISB in 2022. So it was directly, I was moderating that session with Dr. Kiran Bedi, and I got a chance to meet a lot of, Hyderabad's TCP, and that was my one of the very good connections I made there. I met them. Then I met Aman Gupta, board CEO. I had a one-to-one session with him. He's a ISB alum. I met Ankur Variku in our atrium. We had a almost 45 minutes chat. I was understanding like how was his journey, and it was one-to-one discussion with the Ankur and myself. So these are the special events which I find very good once I joined ISB and these events. Apart from that, yes, we have very good networking dinners, very networking events happening, and it's because I am very frequently visitor to ISB campus in Hyderabad. So whenever I go, to be honest, I see a lot of events are happening, and you are open to join them. You can directly meet them. You will learn like you don't need any digital card or any sort of card. You just go to anybody, understand what they are doing, and you can explain about yourself. And then if it starts from any sort of help, they are ready to help you. That is one part. Apart from that, T Hub, if you know Hyderabad, it's for ENBC. They do the incubation and accelerations. So if you have a startup, you can always reach out to them. And T Hub values ISB a lot. MSR, especially, he is very frequently visitor to ISB campus. So all of these connections I have made from ISB itself, apart from normal networking events. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good to know, Raman. Thank you so much for sharing it with us. Sanchit, my question to you would be like, how do you network or how did you network with the alumni, and what is your, if you want to share some tips with the aspirants, how to go about it?
So, do you want me to answer pre-ISB or post-ISB?
Yeah, both is fine. Like pre-ISB, post-ISB, they will also get an idea of that.
So pre-ISB, I mean, it was just cold calling. I would just go out on LinkedIn, check whoever has done whatever, and I'll reach out to them. So that's a simple, straight way. It has so happened a couple of people have reached out to me as well in the past 2-3 days since the time you put the post out on LinkedIn. Post ISB, it has been a lot more easier. I mean, you get an entry ticket into most of the ISB groups. So you can easily reach out to people. Then you can ask your queries. It's fairly simple. You ask, people are more than happy helping out. Nobody's stingy around, so that kind of helps. Post ISB, another thing is I've been in constant conversation with a lot of professors. So I've had the privilege of writing an email to them and reaching out to them for whatever it's worth. Whenever I've needed it, I've asked them. It's been fairly simple. Again, since the graduation, I've visited the campus only once, which is when I was in Hyderabad. And as always, I mean, it's just very welcoming. It's very warm, barring the fact that the guard needs a bit of an explanation as to why are you going in, but that's that's about it, which is a very natural thing. I think you are in an environment and it's a closed door, so you have to explain your point of views. But barring that, and I'm being very, very nitpicky if I were to even count that as a problem, essentially, it's easy. Networking is supremely easy. There are events, there are enough and more people that you can just reach out to. Getting phone numbers is super easy. Getting references is super easy. You know somebody who knows somebody, so by default it happens.
Thank you so much, Sanchit. Thanks for sharing your experience. Now, like Shruti and Sanchit, especially, you have graduated from the COVID, during the COVID years, right? So it was very uncertain, and even now the business scenario is quite uncertain. So, like, what do you feel is the relevance or scope of doing an executive MBA or PGPpro program during this uncertain period? Not during the COVID, but like in general, like considering current situation also. So, like, what relevance do you think it is?
Yeah, so honestly, at the time we were getting into it, we did not think about it, and I did not think about it. But now I feel the more and more relevance of the opportunity cost thing here, because with the uncertainty in the market, I might not be as sure of moving out for a full time now, because it's very uncertain. You do not know how to get back into the market, and you just are out of the market for, let's say, a month. Things have changed, things have evolved, technology, and a lot of things are changing overnight, and so there are so many things coming up. So if you're not there at work, it's very difficult to catch up with it. So with that, what I've seen is there's a demand of executive courses increasing. Even when I talk to my team, or people who want to pursue something, nobody is generally very willing to leave their job behind that much, or there are very less people that want to take that opportunity cost and go out and study. They generally want to pursue something which is probably with the job along, because they need that financial security for them. So that is something that's changing over the period, and that has also increased the acceptance of executive. So I've seen that, around with the HRs and other, company heads, wherein, at American Express, for example, when we talk about executive courses, there are people who do not consider it as, a distance learning anymore. They understand that, somebody is doing something and that's helping them to pace up to the next level of his career. So that's an appreciation that's happening now with the uncertainty, and companies are also providing support. So when I was doing it, there was no tuition fee assistance or something that's happening. But recently Amex, for example, has launched a tuition fee policy wherein not very much, but they're giving like a 3 to 4 lakhs coverage, for example. So it's still better that people have started encouraging that from an organization standpoint, and there are people who will get a leverage out of it when they're doing some executive programs altogether.
Thank you so much, Shruti. Raman, you have anything to add to this? Like, if you want to add.
Yeah, Kia, can you just repeat the question?
Yeah, so the question was like, how relevant do you feel this program is in terms of this uncertainty?
Yeah, of course. We have a lot of disruptions in terms of technology going on. Since I'm from the technology background, so I can tell more about that. So the leadership, especially around AI, which is very new. They lot of people who are already having with the existing technology side, they are not much experienced with the AI leadership because of lot of disruptions in lot of areas like low code, no code is the new term which is going around in the technology world. So they doesn't know like what is the count of developers they need to keep, or what is the QA resources they want to have. So it's not the right time to get into the regular MBA. It's of course for next 1.5 year we'll have more clarity around AI leadership, but it's always better to get into not miss this opportunity to join this kind of a curriculum where you can have your job as well as you are moving towards leadership learnings. So in my opinion, it is the right time to join this kind of a curriculum where you have you can learn and implement in your current area as well as learn new technology like AI.
Thank you so much, Raman. And Sanchit, as you mentioned in the intro that you already had an MBA prior to doing the PGPpro. So what is your viewpoint on this? Like, do you feel that it still relevant, this program?
So yeah, I mean, relevance, of course, I've kind of established it through and through, and especially given the volatility in the business environment right now, with the kind of industry upswings and downswings that we're seeing, especially pertaining to how new tech sectors and new fintech or education tech is going through. See, my honest belief is when the situations are tough, the first thing that we turn to is faith, right? And that faith is always something which is a higher order. Uh, Essentially, that is true for all humans, and essentially, that is true for all organizations. At this point in time, somebody who is working, somebody who can take an extra load in, working upon themselves is pretty much a gold standard. That is on a very, very honest human level. Now, add to that an Ivy League or an campus or an education from something as well known or revered as ISB, that adds value to you. So despite the downturns in the economy and despite whatever we are going through as a country right now, there will be a certain amount of faith that people will be able to put on you. So you will have a bit of a head start as compared to, say, the competition that you would have. So that's my honest purview, looking at it from, say, I'm hating to say this, but because at the cost of repetition, and I understand it's the common notion, doing an executive sort of an MBA, which is a full contact program, something that we need to learn, start talking a lot more, is something which is going to add value in the long run, is what I feel.
Thank you so much, Sanchit. So we just have one more question before we open the floor to take the questions from the audience. So the last question to all of you is like, when you joined this program, you had certain you had certain expectations and how this program unraveled for you. And also like when you joined this program, you came with a certain strengths. So during the course of the program or post completion of the program, like is there any certain qualities that you learned and you built upon that? Yeah, so like maybe, yeah, Shruti, you have already unmuted yourself. So yes, over to you.
Yeah, qualities. I think biggest quality is patience. Like, you learn a lot of patience after the program, and also perseverance. That, you cannot give up on things and you cannot procrastinate a lot. I was a big time procrastinator on things, but, getting to, deliver on assignments and stuff on a very timely manner, and, also being accountable to your peer groups when you're working in a group makes you, more on your toes. So I think those are some qualities, and also a quality to hear. I think listening is something that often gets neglected as a quality, but it's a very important trait that you need to have. And with this course, not even just listening to professors, listening to your peers, and hearing and learning about it, even if you know about a certain field, is a very important quality that I personally, could have earned, because sometimes you get very bottled up at what you know. So what Sanchit said very rightly in the start, that unlearning and learning is the best thing to have from the course, is something that is a quality that I would say that I picked up, wherein now I'm not at my own perception when I'm talking to somebody. I have a clear mind to just listen out what the other person is saying, try to understand their perspective about something, and then try to add my perspective rather than jumping onto conclusions. So that's one quality that really helps you throughout your career, both at personal and professional side. Because even as a professional, when you're leading a team or you're interacting with your management, you need to have that quality to understand what the other person is trying to get at, not react, but try to understand it, and then probably handle the situation better. So that's one thing that I would say for my side.
Thank you, Shruti. And how about you, Raman? Like, is there any particular leadership traits that this program helped you to develop?
Certainly, Kia. One of the best thing which I learned from ISB is fearless leadership. Earlier, I used to sometimes some questions comes into my mind. I keep I make some assumptions around that questions, whether I should ask or not, and I keep it with me. Most of the time, like out of 100 questions, almost 80 to 90 questions, I was not, those questions were not coming out of me. Now it's a different case. I'm very fearless. I talk to the leadership around how we are and where we are right now with our product, what contributions each engineer is making towards the what is the impact of each engineers. If there is any growth part I need to set for an engineer in my team, so I'm able to fight for their growth path. So all those has comes, and of course the patience, because you deal with a lot of different diversifying uh, you know career growth, career people like doctors, as we earlier mentioned also. So everybody has their different perspective, and even if you talk about any particular product team in Microsoft, so they are coming from a different background, and some people are from the management side, some people are from engineering side, some are from marketing, sales. So understand their perspective and then put your things around. That is something I learned, uh, and participating more in the conversations. So those are the things which I learned after having this course.
Thank you, Raman. And how about you, Sanchit?
Kia, can I ask you to repeat the question, please?
Yeah, so the question is like, what are if there is some qualities which you developed while pursuing this program, and how this program has turned out for you?
Okay, so three qualities, I think, and this is something that we talked about when I met you the other day. One is the fact that I've become a lot more academic. Second is the fact that I have reduced my personal biases. I don't think that I am God anymore. Aham brahmasmi खत्म हो जाता है. वो पहले एक हफ्ते में DMU की क्लास में खत्म हो जाता है. You get a very real picture of you. So a person, I mean, post entering this, you turn out to be a very real person. You have no whims, you've no auras or things around you. You just carry your own energy, and you're very comfortable in your own skin. That happens on a very philosophical but a very, very innate level. It kind of works onto you. And third and most important, I think, has been the idea of curiosity. The fact that everybody thinks that they're very curious, everybody thinks that they want to know a lot more. Essentially, what ISB did for me was it made me a lot more curious. As a dividend, I mean, because we were in an academic rigor, I could read a lot more. So my ability to gather knowledge post the course is in continuum, and it has increased from where I was. So essentially, there were two things. One is a head start. The other thing is there's a big delta that the learning curve kind of goes through, and then your learning curve kind of keeps the same pace. So what I see, and this is applicable at least to the people in my group as well, or at least in my cohort and the people that I've known, most of the people have been learning faster. So that's I think one of the biggest dividends of being at ISB.
Thank you so much, Sanchit, and thanks a lot, Shruti, Raman, and Sanchit, for sharing your thoughts and insightful experience during the course. Now we will be taking up some questions from the audience. Are you able to see the chat box? Or let me just moderate the questions. It would be easier. Yeah. So yeah. So there is a question from Dhruv. How is a typical day like for a student on a day of the class? And how much effort is required during weekdays? What was your weekday like apart from work? What can be expected during weekdays? So I think Shruti had talked about like how much time we need to devote during the weekday, and she had also explained about her like how much time she used to give to the program during the weekdays. So let us know about a typical day of the class, maybe from Raman, since you are one of the recent graduates from PGPpro cohort. So let us take this. Let us put this question to you. How does a typical day for a student?
Yeah, I mean, it depends. Like if you're having a class online, like most of the time, the preliminary classes, like the prerequisite classes, those are happening online. Then those are a little bit of cool. Yeah, of course, you need to have some study material to go before the class and then attend online. So those are normal days. But once you are in the class, that is uh, totally occupied. You have to spend almost 8 hours during the day once you are attending the class in person, be it in Delhi cohort or any of the cohort, any of the geographical location like Hyderabad I used to do. So it's little bit you will be learning a lot, to be honest. It will be runtime learning. You will have a lot of students around you, and then runtime case studies you need to do in the class. You need to give the presentations of those case studies, the brief, and a couple of assignments they will give you to do some calculations and then present it. So all those things takes a lot of time and energy. You need to be very sharp with your mind once you are attending the class. Be attentive, and of course you will have your a dedicated study group. You can always consult them, and then it will be a shared leadership kind of thing. Like you're a couple of folks from your study group who will go in the front, and then they will present the case study. So this was a typical day the we used to have in the ISB campus. But yeah, maybe Sanchit and Shruti can add more.
Yeah, please. We'd love to hear from Sanchit and Shruti as well about a typical day for the ISB, because I think Sanchit and Shruti, they are from the Delhi campus. So like how was your typical day for an offline class?
So, Dhruv, I'll be very honest here. You can make the day that you want to. If you want to learn more, invest more. If you want to chill and just pass the exams, don't. It entirely depends on how deep do you want to go. Shruti typically spent 5 to 6 hours on subjects that she was interested in. She was also one of the brighter kids in the class. I'm calling myself a kid, just flattering myself, nothing else. I was one of the people who would invest hours whenever I had. Very honestly, it depends entirely on how you are and where do you want to lead it to. There are certain courses which you do not feel naturally inclined to. That's where you have to put in a lot more extra effort into studying that much more. What I felt is by the end of it, you will end up putting 5-6 hours on an average because of a simple fact. And these are days when the classes are not there. The classes is a completely different animal. Let me answer the non-class days, the weekdays first, because that's the first part of your question. Essentially, what is going to happen is people out there are going to be so competitive. By default, you will want to compete with them because you do not want to look like an idiot in the class. So you'll by default put effort. Coming to the days that you are there in the class, if you do not come across like an idiot, you by default enjoy the process of being the leader. So you will put an extra effort. So again, it's a consequence, which will happen very naturally to you. And honestly, you wouldn't even need to bother about it because that's something that will happen so organically that it doesn't even occur कि मैं कितने घंटे लगा रहा हूँ. It's in my mind, it's a very moot sort of a question. What is the kind of effort required? Because that effort kind of comes from within you, or at least it did for me.
Thank you, Sanchit. Shruti, would you like to add something to this?
I think Raman and Sanjit covered most of it. The only thing is, there's a reason that you're going for a classroom session versus an online, right? Because you need people interaction. You want to get it more and more out of what you're doing. So that's the reason that, you naturally, as Sanjit said, you'll put in those hours and you'll put in that extra effort. We used to be, into the Western hotel where our classes used to be there until like 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. after the classes as well, like 3-4 hours after the classes, just to interact. And sometimes those interaction was from about the course, sometimes it was about a business idea, sometimes it was about something, very opaque or, very different. But we used to enjoy that, and that used to be the best thing that we used to look forward to. And that actually helped us, become a group together, be more motivated towards the classes, and also, test out some of our ideas and, concepts. So, for example, we had so many people who had like startup ideas or stuff like that. It was an incubation center in itself that we had in our classes when we used to test those ideas, get so many different opinions all together. And that used to actually, help us, get to our concepts very better. That helps, to see a better light towards what you're thinking. So that's, one way of thinking of it. And then again, the assignments and stuff, it's the professors that you're interacting with are very, I would say, tenured. They're coming from corporate experiences. When you talk to them, you want to gain out of them. If you're not going prepared, you will probably feel a loss, and you're putting that much money into it. So it would always be that, you always have that guilty mind that if you're going sometimes unprepared, you lost out on what you put in altogether. So that's how that drives you towards it organically. And, probably that would happen. You do not need to worry about it. It's not that, you need to put in like extra work hours and, 10 hours each day. That doesn't happen. It's very organic.
Thank you, Shruti. Thank you so much for answering this question. So I hope those who have heard, so this gives you an idea about the day-to-day life of the classes, like when you will be having the classes offline. So how your a typical day would look like. So I hope you got an idea. So I can see some of the questions, there's a question from Anuj. He's asking if you have been in the same company post the completion of the program, what was your percentage compensation and designation? So these are very specific questions and it varies from person to person. So there is no particular number which we can say for that. And if you wish to see, or if you wish us to connect you to someone who is from a similar background, do reach out to us. We can have a one-on-one discussion. I have shared the link for having a one-on-one conversation with us, and we will try to figure out how we can help you with your concern. Okay, if you are worried about the career transition thing, we will try to share some profile which is more relevant to your background. I hope this helps, Anuj. There is a question from Shubham. How PGPpro helps a student working in medical entrepreneurship to end up doing MBA finance? Will it end up switching domain or apply? Will he end up switching domain or apply the learning in existing field? Okay, so Shubham, are you there? Yeah, Shubham. So are you from the medical background? Could you please, you can unmute yourself and ask your questions as well. So this is a compact group. So in case if you wish to ask your questions live, you can unmute yourself and ask your questions.
Hello, good afternoon all. Thank you very much for your valuable insights. I'm not from the medical field, but yes, because I was listening to the speeches, not the speeches, listening from the insights from all of you. So that I just wanted to know that if one is wanting to start, and going into the venture of entrepreneurship or anything like that. So how does, because as of now, PGP Pro gives you the option of MBA Finance and Marketing. So how would the MBA, say MBA Marketing or the finance, helps the people, those who are in the different domain? As of now, I am in the projects domain. So how the learning from the MBA Finance would help me in my projects field, or would it be beneficial to change the domain, or like I'll be drifting towards that management part of thing?
Shubham,
So,
can I take a punt on this, guys?
Yeah, sure.
Shubham, tell me honestly, what is it that you're looking for? The first and foremost question is, how clear are you in your mind? And I'm saying it out of experience. Shruti was very clear that she wanted to continue at Amex. She has been with Amex for the longest, and she wanted to continue at that point in time, and she's still there. Raman again hasn't changed job or profile. I have changed job and profile. A lot of people have moved from a certain domain to another domain. People have also gotten into say entrepreneurship. I have seen that also happen. Eventually, it's just life skills that you're learning. It's just business skills that you're learning. Okay. How do you want to deploy them? Essentially remains onto you. That's the locus of control is entirely on you. Again, if I know something, if I know a skill, how do I use it remains to be seen by how I deploy it. ISB will give you a lot of quivers in your armory, and you can choose to shoot them wherever you feel like. But if you're expecting, as I said, if you're expecting कि सब कुछ होगा without us putting anything, नहीं होने वाला, bro. You'll have to put in a lot of effort. You'll have to be very clear as to where you're putting your effort to. Be concentrated, be intense, and look at it with a clear vision, and things will happen by default because you'll meet a lot of people around who would be doing something that you are looking at. So A, you'll get experience from them. B, you'll get the right kind of exposure in terms of understanding and applying what you're learning. And C, eventually the most important is you. How do you execute it?
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you very much, Sanjay. That's what I was hoping for. Thank you.
thanks, Sanchit. Thanks, Shubham. There's a question from Vicky. Being a PGP Pro student, do they get access to PGP on campus placement opportunities? So I don't think so. They get opportunities like for the PGP campus placement. So would you like to share anything on this?
I think PGPpro have a CTS group, career transition group of alums, and you can participate in that group. And I think we started with the conversation where we explained about what experience level you need to get into ISB PGPpro. So looking at that point itself, you are at the mid-career level. So at this point, in my opinion, we need more networks, which PGPpro or ISB gives you. So you can always reach out to them on the LinkedIn, or there are alumni engagement team, and then of course this CTS group where you can always reach out to them, and then if there is any opportunity, they keep sending those opportunities in the WhatsApp group or the email group also. You can always have leverage that, but directly with PGP placement team, I am not sure about that. Mostly no, but yeah, Kia, you can add more on that. But as long as I know, like they don't support.
Yeah, so as per my knowledge also, the PGP campus placement is totally different. And PGP Pro, we don't have a campus placement for that, but we do have career support services, as Raman mentioned. And there is a dedicated team, and there will be events and networking opportunities from time to time, which you can leverage on. Okay, so that is how it is here. And there is another question, like you have asked a second question, this being an 18-month program and with the badge of ISB along, what is that time one starts to feel the impact of the badge? I mean, during the program, or is it only after the completion of the program? So I think this part of the question was already discussed during our previous discussion. And I think even while pursuing the program, there will be certain situations or instances where you can share your knowledge, what you have learned in the classes with your current organization. So I think all three of them have given examples how they have contributed to their organization, the knowledge which they have learned during the PGPpro program. Okay, so I think we have almost covered all the questions over here. And sorry, there is one question from Divya. How is this program different from Management Essentials? So Divya, would you like to unmute yourself and elaborate your question? Like what exactly you would want to know from us? Divya, if you are here, I don't see Divya, right? Okay, so no problem. And for those who are here, like if you have any further questions, please unmute yourself and ask a question, or we are good to wrap up the session. I have shared some of the links in the chat box. Kindly have a look. We are having a couple of events coming up in the coming weekend, which will be held in person. There are a coffee meet in Gurgaon and Delhi, and there will be another coffee meet in Hyderabad. The details are present over here. You can register yourself and meet us in person. We will be happy to meet you. And in case if you wish to have a detailed conversation with the admissions team to understand your fitment for the program and how your career transition, like how you can look forward to your career transition, you can reach out to us. I have shared the admission helpline link over here. You can book a meeting with us and we can have a detailed conversation. Besides that, I have shared some of the essential links about the program, like the program page, the application link, the fee structure, the financing and the scholarship options which we have, the curriculum of the program, the calendar. Okay, so kindly have a look at it, and this will give you a detailed overview of the program. And if you have any further questions, please feel free to reach out to us. We would be happy to help you. And just to add one more thing, like right now we are in our round 2 of applications for Delhi and Hyderabad. Okay, and the deadline is on 3rd of March. So if you are looking to apply for the program, you can start filling up the application. The application process is slightly descriptive, like you will have to fill in details about your job roles, your responsibilities. There are 2 AC which you have to write. So it will take some time. So don't keep it till the last moment. And it will be very rushed if you leave it till the last moment. So try putting in some time during the weekends at least. And if you face any technical issues or if you need any help, you can reach out to the admissions team. And with that, I think we are good to wrap up the session. And thank you so much, Raman, Shruti, and Sanchit, for joining us today. I know it's a weekend and like weekdays are anyways very hectic for you. And thanks for like accepting our invite and being with us today and sharing your valuable insights with the participants.
Thanks,
And
Kia.
Thank you, Kia. Thanks,
you
Shruti.
so
Thanks,
much.
Sanchit.
Thank you. And we loved interacting with the group.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your valuable insights.
Thank you.
So I think we are good to wrap up the session.
Sure.
Bye.
Thank you, Ron.
Have a
Bye.
good day. Have a good day.